And we say greetings, this is Kabanka Pyramid representing the Lion Voice blog. Make sure that them check it out and stay tuned. Seeing Rastafari blessings every time.
I said.
Greetings, I'm Sister Aisha Diana Conwood, currently the Assistant Commissioner of Agriculture for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Time for the lioness to roar. You know, this is the lion's voice. Lioness, let's roar, lion pour.
Again, the loss of value of the Western dollars is a sign that Babylon is falling. And this is why also those of us who still are in the West, or like myself back and forth, it's very important that we use the dollar now, put it together with each other and purchase physical assets, whether it be land, whether it be investing in farms, agro-business, things that are going to prepare us to weather the storm that's coming. We need to aggregate and come together. This is the mission that I have been on, that we have been working on, trying to be like ants in the summertime, preparing for the winter, working diligently. But that's what we should be doing right now, because the day will come when the dollar will lose a lot of value and be worthless.
The year is 1892, and the land of Ethiopia has been experiencing 4 years of terrible famine and drought. They call it the Kikuken, or the evil days. At least 1/3 of the human population and 90% of the cattle have died. The hyenas have feasted on so many carcasses that they have become overweight and barely able to move. Just when the people could take no more of the evil days, a woman named Wasiro Yeshimabet is giving birth in a place called Erjersa Gora. This is her 9th attempt to bring forth new life. Her previous 8 attempts only resulted in death. Will this child live? Thankfully, a healthy baby boy is born. His first cries are drowned by thunder and lightning flashes across the night sky. The heavens open up and torrential rain starts to fall. Ethiopia's drought is over, and the baby boy is given the name TAFARI, meaning one to be feared or respected. LIDJ's father, Rastafari, is a very important man in 1892 Ethiopia. Although he is overjoyed at the birth of his newborn son, he cannot spend much time with him. Rastafari is the governor of Harar and must get back to the famous walled city to deal with its affairs. Furthermore, he is the foreign minister of Ethiopia, and having traveled to different places in Europe, he is very aware of the material and military advances they have made and the looming threats they pose to his country. Rastafari knows that the majority of Ethiopians have no idea what is coming, and that he has to work that much harder to secure the realm. Tafari would grow up to become the legendary emperor, Haile Selassie I. To understand his journey, we must first understand the Ethiopia that he was inheriting, and what it was like when he was born in 1892. Get your copy of Kwesi Bansu's book, Haile Selassie I, Ethiopia, Volume 1, The Rise of the Priestly Warrior Kings, and increase your knowledge about the history, politics, and culture of Ethiopia in 1892, and how it connects to the rest of African and world history at the time. Haile Selassie I, Ethiopia, Volume 1 is available for purchase at www.bookmanexpress.pub. Please visit for more information.
And if you notice, every problem that the West have is war. And if you're a student of history like myself, you know anytime a leadership solve every problem with war, it's when the fall is about to happen. We even saw that in Ethiopia. I wrote about it in Haile Selassie's Ethiopia, the rise of the priestly warrior kings, when I wrote about Emperor Tewodros, who never lost a fight on the battlefield, but yet still couldn't keep the kingdom together. Every time people rise up, him go out there and stamp it out militarily, and yet still couldn't keep hold of the empire, because diplomacy. And this is why His Majesty always was using diplomacy as a first, second, third option, because guess what happened? You cannot sustain with war. And His Majesty spoke Empress Menen spoke out against war. I always say here His Majesty took a militant stand for peace. He could have crushed the Derg like an insect, like a roach, up until the last moments, but he chose to mediate, negotiate, dress up in him khaki suit and sit down, listen to these impetulant young people who he had seen growing from they were in diaper come try to tell him how to run government when the government was on his shoulder. The humility in just listen and say, I'm not going to be the cause of the shedding and spilling of Ethiopian blood. That was a command to I and I to stop the cycle. Shiloh means peace on earth, and we saw it manifest in a man. So I can't tell I and I anything right now. We're here to rebuild and to do the healing part. This war that's coming, the global war, because it's going to be war in all regions, civil war in places. It's not I and I war, you know, and this is why Rastafari is loved by all sides, because they know we stand for love, and I have to build. While Babylon is destroying itself, I mission is to build and to be that bridge and that gumminess, that glue that brings together the African continent. And we're going to get to the African continent rising. But number 3 reason that Africa is rising and Babylon is falling is the rise of BRICS. What is BRICS? BRICS stand for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Recently expand to include Egypt, Ethiopia as the African countries, Iran, Saudi Arabia, UAE, oil producing countries. You know what I mean? So bloc expanded. It's a serious alternative now to having to seek loans from the World Bank, IMF, the Western global order, who used to use manipulation to open people markets, push a lot of social, cultural reforms, undercut local agriculture, these things. Now, countries have an option. They can go to BRICS. BRICS as a non-interventionist policy. Most of these nations, you know, the global south, they call themselves, don't deal with anything. Now, it's a good and a bad, because the bad thing about that is corruption. You know, the leaders who get the money from BRICS or these BRICS countries, China and these things. China now tell you how to spend it, so if you embezzle all of the money, you're a problem. China now tell you how to spend it. Them just a give to you. However, they're not meddling in the internal affairs. Now, that's not to say there are not spies, espionage, things that go on. We saw that the AU headquarters was bugged from head to toe. China look advantage. Of course, they have their self-interest. We're not naive to any BRICS. We're not aligned as Rastafari. So when we analyze, we're not right, we're not left, we're not communists, we're not capitalists. We take the best of everything and create Zion on earth. That is His Majesty's example. Moral theocracy, reign, order. You know what I mean? His Majesty at the head, which is where we get the theocracy. And the morality is we must become members of a new race, owing allegiance not to nation states, but to our fellow brothers and sisters within humanity. So that's the moral part. So it's just really for I and I overstand that the alternative. I always talk about the alternative. If we don't have an alternative to Babylon, we will go down with Babylon. BRICS provides a financial alternative. We have the oil, we have the minerals, we have the infrastructure development. All of that is encapsulated in BRICS. You don't have to go west anymore, but you can still go west. So you have competition. Other ones would argue that it's clear that the West cannot compete with what they bring to the table. You know, they're coming lecturing people about LGBTQ in your country, as opposed to BRICS coming with, we'll build you a road, a bridge, a dam, a power plant. You know what I mean? So when you weigh and balance, this is one of the reasons why Babylon is falling. And again, don't get me wrong, there's Babylon in bricks too, because we're not taking sides, but we're just saying these are signs. Because when you look at how China governed their country during COVID, they had already gone mark of the beast, overdrive, social control, all of these things. USSR, certain things we're not gonna love it. So, but in terms of Africa and the development, having these options gives us some type of freedom from the shackles of the former colonial masters. So, rise of bricks, third sign. Number 4 is the inflation. That we see, the loss of value in the dollar, the price of gold continuing to escalate as people look for stable commodities to put their capital. Everybody, all of the central banks are buying gold. If you look at the price of gold right now, it skyrocket. That shows it's something that's going on. People are getting ready for this war, and there's going to be certain countries whose economies collapse completely. America cannot afford a war right now, but you have ones pushing it. Right now, America should be using its culture, its soft power, to reestablish its dominance. America has the ability to do that because America has a distinct advantage in that, it's a really global country. We have the best and the brightest in America from all over the world. So on paper, America should be able to compete in any area. However, greediness is sinking in with the West, the hubris. We've seen it with the Roman Empire, we saw it with the Persian Empire, we see it with, I just saw empire thing go. So we're watching that, but the loss of value of the Western dollars is a sign that Babylon is falling. And this is why also those of us who still are in the West, or like myself back and forth, it's very important that we use the dollar now, put it together with each other and purchase physical assets, whether it be land, whether it be investing in farms, agro-business, things that are going to prepare us to weather the storm that's coming. We need to aggregate and come together. This is the mission that I and I have been on, that we have been working on, trying to be like ants in the summertime, preparing for the winter. Working diligently, but that's what we should be doing right now, because the day will come when the dollar will lose a lot of value and be worthless. Before World War II, the German Deutschmark was worthless. People had it in a wheelbarrow. When Hitler came to power in the 1930s, right around the coronation, Black King come, Babylon economy collapsed.
Yeah, I'm a Gideon. Cataclysmic forces, good over evil. Yeah, for the ghetto youth worldwide. Yeah. I see the youths nowadays, they growing up. Wanna know the truth, they wanna know what's up. They got no fear now, they'll call you bluff. They asking questions cause they had enough. Why? Some gone astray cause times is tough. Some walk with the machine ready to bust. I'ma give you that things get dangerous. No, in the ghetto things get dangerous. On the battlefield things get dangerous. Them carry RPG, M16. Got a problem to wipe out your whole team. For American dream, them get scanned and lost. And put us into the ghetto, try abandon us. Cause we the remnant of the first sons of Kush. Warrior tribes, we not the ones to push. Just look into them history, see we rebellious. That's cause them systems so unjust. Take the shackles and chains, change them to handcuffs. Release your physical frame, them want your brain. Them a vampire looking for blood to drain. Haile, Selassie come and break every chain. Bob Marley, tell them now we tell them again, yo. We tell them this ain't a game, but this a Armageddon, you got to mentally train. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, or this is heaven on earth, or go burn in the flames. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, I say I gotta play your hate, cause some things gotta change. I tell them this ain't a game, but this a time for African people to rise. I tell them, earthquake, hurricane, tornado, the wind blows and bring the rains. I got the whole west coast in flames, melt the Arctic poles and flood the seas. Hurricane force winds blow down the trees, whole earth feel the pain when the bombs release. Read your psalms, release David prophecies. Marcus Garvey said look to the east. Rastafari is the prince of peace, and Haile Selassie I come conquer the peace. Yo, they trap the youths with them luxuries to get the ladies. Gotta drive Mercedes, people killing babies, try to keep us down with AIDS. We descended from kings, now we surround with plague. Man, I kill them brother, man, to drive the Escalades. I can't stand Babylon and all the mess they made. Teach the youths that them best when them rest in the grave. Wolf trick the lion, got the lion a shade. Can't reach Mount Zion unless you learn to behave. Got to stand firm, cause these is perilous days. I tell them, we tell them this ain't a game, but this a Armageddon, you got to mentally train. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, or this is heaven on earth, or go burn in the flames. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, I say I gotta play your hate, cause some things gotta change. I tell them this ain't a game, or this a time for African people to rise. I tell them